ago, we're still talking about that balance between the outside of the hip and the inside of the hip. So when I was a teenager, I tore my ACL at my knee. I planted a cleat on wet grass and I changed directions. And my foot stayed there and my body changed directions and my knee went and I tore my ACL. Non-contact, very typical actual ACL injury. And so afterwards, what I was taught in therapy, in physical therapy, was to push my knees out. And it's true. When you squat, you want your knees to be in line with your toes. When you jump, you want your knees to be in line with your toes. When you land with your knees caving in, it's more likely to result in a ligament tear in your knee, and it's more likely to create a different wear and tear through your knee that can lead to arthritis repeated over time. So this is why it always matters who we're talking to and what particulars that individual needs. Because if you're landing with your knees caved in, you're going to need to push your knees out and you're going to need more strength in the outside of your hip. But if you tore your ACL years ago and you've been working at pushing your knees out, you might have created a different imbalance where now you have more strength on the outside of your hip and you're not engaging the inside of your hip enough. And so it's important to consider what you actually find within your body. Where is the imbalance? Who is working harder? But in order to turn on your inner thigh, your adductors in this kind of situation without allowing your knee to cave in, you can do it standing on two legs, but I find it easier to think about when you're standing on one leg. So if you prop a foot back for balance, so there's a happy medium where you are balancing the effort from the outside of your hip with the effort from the inside of your hip. So you might be thinking about pressing along the inside contact of your foot in order to engage the inside of your hip. So as you lower and push back up, you're thinking about pushing on that inner contact of your foot to help you engage these muscles. But you can see that my knee is not caved in. It's still in a line. But as I push on the inside and balance it with the effort from the outside, I keep it from caving in, but I get effort from both sides of my hip to find that balance. And so you can do the same thing on two legs. It's just more to think about, but you don't want to see the caving in, but you might need to squeeze something in between, or even just think about squeezing in between to engage the inside, to balance the outside while still keeping your knees in line.